Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome to the show. I'm Jose Cruz from the San Diego Council on Literacy. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show here on WS Radio. And we have a couple of guests. We're going to kind of break them up and mix them up at the same time. So excited to have with us today Cindy Dunlevy. She's the coordinator of library media services for the San Diego County Office of Education. And then also with us is Jessica McCreary, and she's an executive leadership coach. And they both work under San Diego Council, no, that's my organization, San Diego County Office of Education under Learning and Leadership. And so there is a way where these all come together. They are resources, and they all play an important role in making sure that our young people who are in our public schools are getting the instruction and learning the skills and acquiring knowledge that prepares them for the world. And so there's so many things that come into play for that to happen. And there's people working. It's not just teachers. It's not just teachers. There's other things happening out there that we're going to talk about. Anyway, Cindy and Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jose.
Hey there.
Hi, thanks for having us.
So glad to have you. This is Cindy's second time on the show, and Jessica's first time. Maybe we'll bring her back too. I'm pretty sure we're going to end up doing that. There's so much to talk about today, and especially with all of us being concerned that our kids get the help that they need. And I just want to say as an opening just how there's so many things that are beyond our control as the children enter our school, and you have the social, emotional things, and you have the lack of resources. So you have a lot of work that needs to be done that helps us make up for maybe some of the things that we'd like to see happening before the kids get to our schools. So this is part of it, and there are other things out there. It's not just the classroom. So with that being said, I'm going to turn to Cindy, and she wanted to talk about, because she's been on the show before, coordinator of the Everyone a Reader program, which is tutoring during school hours for children mostly ages 6 to 8. Was that correct?
In the first, second, and third grade.
Okay.
Just below grade level of reading.
Right. So there's that aspect. And we've had that conversation, and maybe we'll bring you back to the show for that one again, because I think it's pretty important. You have about, 4,000 volunteers?
About 2,000.
2,000,
We work with about 3,000 kids every year. Okay,
very good. So very important. They're getting important help that's having an impact on them. But you wanted to talk about the statewide database and what that is and how that eventually helps the kids.
Right. It's a relatively new online resource, and I just wanted everyone to know teachers and students have access to $3 million worth of online resources, and that's paid for by the California State Library.
So how do people usually, that's probably why we wanted to have you on the show. How would a parent know that? Where does this information get passed on to them?
Through the schools. Just a little bit of history about the state databases. California was one of the few states that did not offer any free online databases to students. We're catching up with states such as Texas, Virginia, and Arkansas. So in June 2017, $3 million, the money came from Prop 98. It was provided by the state of California for online library databases. The state library recognized that there was a need to digitally connect students with content that aligns to the state's curriculum. Creating the statewide suite of online content would ensure greater access to all students.
So how did that? Because the curriculum is relatively new. Am I not correct? 2 or 3 years old now?
Well, actually, the resources are Britannica, which is an encyclopedia. They have Britannica and Britannica Escolar.
Right.
Teachingbooks.net, which provides support for fiction and nonfiction readers, a lot of lesson plans and read-alouds and things to introduce authors and illustrators to students. And then ProQuest, which is an educational database. You've probably heard of that?
Oh, that was
Heard of
new. Yeah,
ProQuest?
no, that was kind of new to me. Yeah.
It's an information company, and it's used by researchers and librarians around the world. They offer 7 different resources, grade level specific, age specific, includes a lot of research support, ebooks, culturegrams, up-to-date information that students can use.
So I'm thinking, okay, how do parents know about this stuff? But how do you work this into what teachers are already doing? How new is this to them, and what do you have to do so that they're accessing this resource? 'Cause it's really important.
Right. Well, there was information that was sent out by the California State Library and by the CDE, the California Department of Education, on how to access the resources. So what happened was all of the districts were notified, and they had to fill out a form and give their IP address so that students on campus could easily access all of these databases. Students off campus might need a username and password, but that's also very easily arranged through the California State Library.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to switch over to Jessica real quickly, just because there's a question right now that comes into play, and then we're going to go back to the database as a resource. But Jessica, not just parents, not just teachers, but principals need to learn about these resources. So when something like this is coming down, is given the work that you do as an executive coach, and let me just put out there that you're coaching principals too.
Correct.
How does this process work so that everybody knows what they need to know about the new things that are being made available?
So that's a good question for actually both of us, because we work at the County Office of Education, and that is one of our main roles, is to make sure that all of the 42 districts in the San Diego County have knowledge and access to resources that are made available to them either by the state of California or even by our own offices. And so that's some of the work that Cindy's doing, is she's trying very hard to get the word out there, trying to make sure that, not only people like me know about the resources so that when we go out and coach, we can inform the schools, inform the principals or the districts, but also so that she can be communicating directly to the folks who are there in front of the kids every day, trying to use the resources and get the word out and figure out all the different ways that we need to get the word out so people know it's there. It's free, and it's a wonderful resource.
Yeah, and I know sometimes things sit, right? And so until we let people know about them, then we have to do the kind of promotions that we're doing like today.
Yeah, because I think part of the problem, and Jessica, you probably see this as well, is that teachers have so many different areas that they have to be knowledgeable about. And sometimes these online resources are looked at as just another thing. And really, they're there to support teachers and students. I was in a classroom recently, and I saw kids creating PowerPoint presentations, which is a great skill for them to know. I think they were in 3rd grade, and they were unbelievable. Some of them were doing it in Spanish, and I was very impressed. But I noticed that they were gathering all of their information from Google. And they wouldn't even click on the article. They would just put in their search word, and then there would be a little summary of it, and that's what they would type in. So really, we want students to be able to access more educational and vetted and safe information, and that's why these databases are important. Also, if students do go on to college, they will be doing more research projects, high school too.
Through databases.
Yeah, and they'll need to know how to use databases.
Very good. And like say, when you say database, to me, I'm looking at a list of people, and when you say databases, it's resources.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the state calls it the California K-12 Online Content Project, because
I love it. Okay.
There is questioning about the word database, but actually, if you think of them as online content resources, and what they are indexed collections of magazines, scholarly and peer-reviewed journals. There's books, newspaper articles, abstracts, encyclopedia articles, transcripts, photographs, lots of primary source documents, and information that's been checked for accuracy and reliability by publishers, and then it's licensed for distribution.
Got it. Well, I'm looking at these resources now. Before the internet, before Google, we were accessing the encyclopedia and the library, and also looking at, right, kind of doing our own hands-on research. And so in a way, are we kind of training kids to, in an online way, to do what we used to do versus Google? Sound good?
Yes, because do you know what the average age of a nonfiction text is in school libraries in California?
No.
1995.
1995, okay. Well,
So 26 years, 24 years.
24 years, yeah.
I was thinking of my son being born in 94 and he's 25. But so the kids in elementary schools that are using these encyclopedias from 1995, they weren't even born when this information was gathered and published in these books.
So it's not updated.
Yeah, so here we are, and we're still catching up with ourselves. And maybe we never will catch up. I mean, everything is a moving target. But it's good to see, something like Encyclopedia Britannica in the mix and such, because it's a good old, it's just something that we relied on. And I think it kind of goes back to the fundamentals of research and all. Not hands-on, but that's a whole other thing that we've been talking about. Anyway, we're going to come back after break and talk more about the database and also the work that's being done to help our teachers and administrators to do the best job, the kind of job they want to do in the course of working with the young people who are attending our schools. So you've been listening to us here on WS Radio. We are the worldwide leader in Internet talk. This is the Literacy for All radio show. And I'm Jose Cruz. We're going to be back right after a short break.
Can you help a newborn baby in need? Sometimes the blessing of birth becomes complicated and perilous. Miracle Babies is there to help. Miracle Babies helps moms and dads give their all to their struggling little baby, but still need more. When you give to Miracle Babies, you help them give more. More skin-to-skin care, breast milk, and love. Go to miraclebabies.org and give right now. Be their miracle.
Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Homeless veterans and their families are suffering and need our support, but many won't ask or don't know that help is within reach. Veterans Community Services is here to help. Amazingly, about 35% of the homeless in our neighborhoods are veterans with families. Low-income veterans or their friends are encouraged to contact Veterans Community Services and reach out for help with housing and other services. Call now, 800-974-9909.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children.
After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world where children don't play, or dream, or imagine?
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children, because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Jose Cruz. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show. And our guests for the next three segments and our guests for the previous segment were folks from the San Diego County Office of Education, Cindy Dunlevy. She's a coordinator of library media services there, and also Jessica McCreary. She's an executive leadership coach and also helps principals sharpen up their skills so they can be the best that they can be for their students. Cindy, did you just tell us that it's been maybe longer than like 24 years since like we've equipped actual encyclopedias in classrooms?
I'm not even sure if they're still publishing encyclopedias.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder about that. Right. Well, somebody can let us know. Because that was, I mean, one, they're a beautiful treasure, but two, a great resource, but the world has changed that much.
Right.
You know, so now we're having to help, having to help young people do more diverse research. And Google is easy, you know, and I'll tell a story real quickly. We were hiring a health literacy research person, so back about 10, 11 years ago, and I wanted to know how they did their research, and everybody we interviewed said the same thing, Google. So I mean, I get it, and at the same time, you know, there are some resources out there that are heavy with content that take us deeper into some of the subject areas. So, you know, things have kind of changed in that way. What's really important in research, and let's have that conversation, is making sure that you find reliable content. And so does what you have here in these the database, quote unquote database, that kind of training, or just something that helps the students identify what's good information, reliable information, versus just junk that we find out there? Is that a trick? Is that a tough question to you?
Yeah, talking about fake news.
Yeah, that.
It's out there.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a Stanford study from 2016, and they found that students were pretty much unable to determine if the information they were looking at was an ad, an opinion, a fact. So here's a quote from them. That students show a dismaying inability by students to reason about information they see on the internet. Students, for example, had a hard time distinguishing advertisements from news articles or identifying where information came from. So they have written some curriculum. Stanford, it is the, they have written some curriculum which has been downloaded over 4 million times. And also there's other online support for teaching information literacy. I also suggest people check out Common Sense Media. They have a lot of information out there, not only on internet safety and being ethical while using internet for students, but also on information literacy.
So we can feel pretty good that there's a response to some of our concerns as relates to fake news, and maybe, not to get political, but maybe, all right, we're getting Facebook postings from Russians, et cetera. I mean, a lot of people can pick that stuff off, and a lot of people can't. In fact, they read what they read and they believe it. And so it's important, and it's encouraging to know that there's that much attention being brought to it.
Right. Well, there's some standards to be information literate. Students should be able to access information, and they should be able to formulate their own questions to drive their research. They should be able to evaluate the information by examining sources and claims. Remember the bibliography and citing, like, why was that important? Well, it's even more important now to find out where exactly did the information come from. Integrate information, originate, remix and share information, and use information. So access, evaluate, integrate, originate and use AEIOU. That's what students should be able to do.
Very good. Now, again, people need to identify that this is a priority. I'm hearing it more and more, not just because I see what's happening in the news, but a few weeks ago, a few shows ago, we had folks from the UCLA Information Services Department. They were training librarians and they were training teachers on the sanctity of information, so that it, not only that that information is truth or factual, but that people are able to tell that. So it's become quite a priority. Jessica, your job is to help principals, help teachers discover richer content, this kind of content, and in this particular area of things. How is that coming along?
Well, one of the things that we do when we're out coaching principals is we'll say, let's have a walk around the school, let's walk in the classrooms, let's see the school you're leading.
Mm-hmm.
And so on a daily basis, I'm walking through classrooms with principals and helping them to see what's actually happening in the learning experiences of the kids. And one thing that's very common right now is we see many, many students sitting in front of Chromebooks or some, iPad or some sort of screen. And either they're being led by a program to do some kind of a learning activity, or they're literally out on the open internet searching for something. They think they're doing their work, but what they land on is very concerning content. I remember just the other day I was in a high school classroom where the teacher was showing the kids where there was a free website you can go to figure out how you can cite your create a bibliography, notation in your bibliography. You can literally put in the title of the book and the author, and it'll pop it right up for you.
Yeah.
Right on the side was advertisement for ladies' undergarments.
Okay.
Flashing on the screen in front of all the adolescent boys.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like just going out on the wide open internet is very concerning because of what's out there and where they might land accidentally. And then also not necessarily diving into rich content that really could help them. And when you have a library full of vetted content with resources that we know are high quality, and we know we can go there and not have to worry about advertisements or worry about people poking at kids trying to communicate with them through social media or whatever, then you can create a safer learning environment and you actually can focus on the learning you need to do with the AEIOU.
Yeah, very good, very good. Cindy, anything to add to that? Because I'm going to go back to Jessica doing walks with principals.
I just want to mention, you said, are they actually printing encyclopedias now? Well, once they print them, they're usually out of date right away. So the online databases, we have students with multiple languages, and these articles and this information can be translated into hundreds of different languages.
Yeah.
The text size can be made larger or smaller. It can be read aloud, so when you're looking at different types of learners, there's a lot of support for them to access the content based on their needs. It's personalized for their needs.
Very good. I mean, it's a real good point, because sometimes we emphasize the things that we're concerned about versus all the things that the internet brings to us, that you can take the content. You can do what you do with print. You can change the color. You can change the language. You can update the information versus what's already in that encyclopedia. It's a great point. I'm looking at the Encyclopedia Britannica listing that you have here. It's Escuela for Spanish speakers. So you have that.
Right, but in the main Britannica, the articles can be translated into multiple languages. You mentioned parents. I was working with a principal one day, and there was a parent in there, and her primary language was Urdu. And the goal of their parent-teacher association for that year was to allow parents to have more access to what their students were learning. So we found out the topic that her son was learning, and we went online in the databases, and we found an article that supported what the student was learning, and we printed it out in Urdu and handed it to her.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
She was thrilled.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So a way to engage parents,
right?
Connect where they are to the content and such. I love it. Before I forget, I know that the resources that you're talking about cost money, but are they just for students? It's not something that can be accessed off campus. This is when students are doing research, they're going to have access to this information because they're in the classroom, so it's not for everybody.
It is for all K-12 teachers and students in California, and it's no cost to the users. The state paid $3 million to buy them for the students, and they can get access off campus.
Okay, so I guess I asked a question the long way, and that is, if I wanted to access this content, could I do that?
Yes.
Okay, real good. So anybody could use this, but it's helping our kids out, and it's helping our teachers and our principals. So got it. Very good. So I know we're going to go to break, and that's in just a minute. So I didn't want to open up a whole can of worms with Jessica and talking about her work that she does with school principals. But so let's just have that as an introduction, because you are an executive coach, and that plays into what I've had a coach. You know, we talked about that a little bit when we first started the show, and it's just a really good thing to have, so that you know that you're growing as a professional and such, and especially with things changing as fast as they do. It's good to have that. So I'm not going to let you get started, Jessica, because I'm going to stretch this out till we go to break. But just really looking forward to, because this for us is insight, you know, what's happening out there in the world of principals, and how we keep them up to speed on what's taking place in a society where the future is a moving target. And so, you know, new resources is a good thing, but then as soon as you're accessing them, something new comes along, and it overwhelms everybody. And so there's just got to be a way that we keep up. And we like having all the new things, but at the same time, we need time for our teachers and administrators to learn that stuff. So we're going to come back after our break and have more conversation on these topics. I'm Jose Cruz. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McCullough brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcCullough.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McCulloughe. ChristopherMcCullough.com. Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com. Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McCullough brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcCullough.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. MCAULIFFE. ChristopherMcCullough.com.